All right, let's jump right into today's explainer. We're tackling a massive, massive hurdle in the construction industry, and that is bridging the gap between classroom theory and real-world construction sites. It's an incredibly high-stakes environment out there, and frankly, what you learn in a textbook, it just doesn't always translate perfectly to the muddy boots and hard hats of a live project. So let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Are you a civil engineering student, or maybe a recent grad, and you're struggling with interviews and those daunting real site challenges? Look, if you're nodding your head right now, you are absolutely not alone. You've got the degree, sure, but do you have the practical site readiness? Because honestly, it's a totally different ballgame. Which brings us to the engineering reality check. See, here's a harsh truth that most colleges simply do not teach. The physics and the math, that's all there. But the complex reality of a live site is totally missing. And the problem is that so many candidates learn these crucial concepts only after starting a job. Waiting until your very first project to figure out how things actually work, that puts you at a severe disadvantage when you're suddenly expected to perform on massive real-world projects. This sets up the ultimate showdown: theory versus practical knowledge. And this brilliantly illustrates the core divide in your engineering career. On the one hand, theory helps you pass your exams. It gets you the degree. But on the other hand, practical knowledge is what actually helps you build your career. Passing a test on concrete strength is great, but knowing exactly how to manage concrete quality out in the elements, that's what makes you a hireable engineer. Theory alone just isn't going to cut it. Now, let's look at the real site challenges. Get ready, because the reality of what engineers deal with is dense. Literally every single day, engineers are out there facing complex problems with construction execution, quantity calculations, and bar bending schedules, or BBS. They're managing surveying precision, checking concrete quality, deciphering incredibly complex AutoCAD drawings, and handling overall site management and project coordination. It is an overwhelming list of responsibilities, and it really highlights the steep learning curve graduates face the second they step onto a site. But let's shift our perspective for a second. What if you could learn all of this before your interview? Imagine sitting across from a hiring manager, and instead of just quoting a textbook, you're discussing real-world execution and actual site problems. Talk about a game changer. It shifts the entire dynamic from feeling totally overwhelmed to being completely empowered. So here is the ultimate engineering challenge. How do you stay ahead of the competition? Let's move to and see how this builds into an actionable solution you can use right now. Step 1, open Google. Step 2, search Civil Engineer Avinash Sharma Bareilly. Step 3, click on that profile. And Step 4, start exploring real-world civil engineering knowledge. It is literally that simple to start closing the gap between what you know right now and what the industry actually needs you to know. Once you're there, you're going to regularly find some incredibly high-value content. We're talking real site problems, practical engineering solutions, specific interview questions you will actually be asked, plus construction management insights and industry knowledge designed explicitly for future civil engineers. You're basically analyzing daily engineering challenges in real time, completely bypassing that agonizing wait to get onto a site. And it all comes down to this, because great engineers don't just study engineering, they practice thinking like engineers. Think about that for a second. Studying is passive. Thinking like an engineer, that's active. It's about problem solving, anticipating issues on site before they even happen, and applying practical solutions. It's just a completely different mindset. So if you're ready to stop relying solely on theory and you want to start building a real career with practical insights, your next step is clear. Go search for that profile and follow for real civil engineering knowledge. The only question left to ask yourself is this: are you going to wait for your first project to fail, or is your challenge accepted today?